What's going on, everybody? It is June 26th, 2023, and I am proud to announce I am officially a YouTube Partner Program member. So from the day I turned 1,000 subscribers until now, it's been almost exactly 2 weeks. So it took me about 10 days, 11 days to get my Google AdSense approved, which was kind of frustrating. And I thought, well, it's probably going to take me another 2 weeks to get my channel reviewed by YouTube, because anybody that doesn't know the process, once you turn 1,000 subscribers, they don't just automatically start monetizing you. There's stuff you have to go through. You have to, for one, accept their terms and conditions. Then you have to create an AdSense account, which is a process in itself. And then they review your channel for monetization. So like I said, between the time I turned 1,000 subs until now, it's been about 2 weeks. So pretty straightforward process. It went pretty quick, not as quick as I'd like it to go, because, you know, through that whole time, after you've hit 1,000 subscribers, you know, you officially are eligible to make money on the videos, but you're not making money on those videos until everything's approved. Of course, YouTube's still making money on the ads, but you're not. But I'm monetized now. Yay! So now I also have, I set up just a standard membership right now. It's $4.99 a month. If you all want to sign up, you'll get exclusive videos, perks. I'm in the process. I have a couple ideas of making some stickers and stuff like that. All the members will get that stuff first. And so yeah, I got big plans coming. So hopefully everything works out, and we can make this thing something really special. So that was my first milestone, was to hit 1,000 subs and get monetized. And of course, that wasn't the goal of this channel. The goal of this channel is to kind of just share my day-to-day, and to share what I go through on a day-to-day basis, and maybe educate, and you guys might learn something from it. So, but being monetized and being able to take that money and put it back in the channel is a major perk. So hopefully it all works out. But all right, well, let's get on to it with today's video. I just wanted to make that little announcement. So we got a couple calls lined up today, so let's get to them. And one thing I wasn't expecting to do with this channel is I wasn't expecting it to actually make me a better technician. You know, I wanted to get my work out there. I wanted people to see my stuff and maybe learn from it. But posting my work on YouTube has made me a better technician, because sometimes I'll go and do something and I'll think, well, I probably don't have to do that. I can cut this corner, you know. But then I think to myself, you know what, if I don't do that, YouTube is going to let me know. And they're going to let me have it. So I better do that, because I don't want to set a bad example. And Friday, I did set a bad example. I did unsweat that valve and sweat it back in without flowing nitrogen. And that's a pretty big no-no. But the people that brazed, that trained me how to braze, my father, guys that I work with, even when I was in Votech in high school in the very early 2000s, when we learned to braze, we weren't flowing nitrogen. So this is a relatively newer practice that manufacturers and people want you to do. I'm not saying it wasn't done back then, but it's really being preached more now. And it really should be done. I'm not trying to get out of doing it or telling you guys or make excuses, because it should be done. But when I was trained, nobody was flowing nitrogen. So it is a newer practice, and everybody should follow it. And I appreciate those of you that called me on it, because it really should be done. And as long as you guys keep your critiques civil and your criticism civil, that's fine. Now, if you start coming off as an asshole and you're trying to degrade me or disrespect me or stuff like that, then we have a problem and I might have to ban you. I haven't had to ban anybody yet, but you know, I know how the internet can be. So as long as we keep it civil, I will respond to you and I will thank you for your criticism and your critique. And I love hearing from you guys. You know, let me know down in the comments how you guys would do something different and stuff like that, or anything you guys think I'm doing wrong. So yeah, let me know about that stuff. But yeah, I wasn't expecting YouTube making this channel to make me a better technician, but it certainly has, and I appreciate that. All right, guys, we got a capacitor here that's coming up weak. It's a 10 microfarad capacitor. It's coming up more than 10% bad. So we're just going to look at this unit a little bit. Looks like it's had a little bit of, looks like the board burnt up at one time. Looks like it really burnt up. But we're going to focus on getting this capacitor changed right now. First thing you want to do, you want to make sure you disconnect power. That's right here. And then confirm it's dead by checking it with a meter. Now we're going to do that real quick and we'll be right back. All right, we've confirmed that the power is dead. And before you touch anything, even with the power off, before you touch anything on this capacitor, you want to make sure you take a insulated screwdriver, insulated pair of pliers, something insulated, and touch these two together. That's with any capacitor. That disengages the capacitor because the capacitor's job is to hold a charge and to help whatever motor it's starting to start. So it does hold a charge. Touching these two together like this disengages that charge and allows you to touch it. All right, so now that we got that disconnected, the wire's taken off, you're going to take your nut driver and take that off right here. All right, it's actually a 15 microfarad. See that there? It's kind of messed up, but that is a 15 microfarad capacitor, and it's posted, and it's reading weak. It's reading about 9.5. Up there it is, up top there, 15. All right, we're going to take our new capacitor here, 15 MFD, 370 volt. You could use a 440 here too. You can use a 440 in place of a 370, but you can't go backwards. You can't use a 370 in the place of a 440. All right. So we have our new capacitor here and then our bracket. So we're going to get that connected. Most of the time they have a little insulated boot here to protect these wires. I don't know if it got taken off or something at one point, but it's missing either way. Let's put this back on real quick. All right, we got that back in place, and we're just going to put our wires back on here. And changing up a capacitor is easy as that. So we're going to restore power and then confirm our motor is running by jumping the R thermostat wire to the G thermostat wire underneath here. All right, here we have our thermostat wires, and this is a real life situation here. It's not always going to be perfect. It's going to be most of the times be shitty like this. So we are going to, I'm not sure what that little pop was. Definitely weird. But we're going to take our G wire and see, they got an orange wire mixed in here for whatever reason. Maybe the G wire went bad at one point, but you know what? Yeah, somebody used green to go outside with. This orange to green, this is probably going to be our reversing valve wire. So here is, on these carriers, they use this gray wire for the fan circuit. This is our G right here, and then this is our R. So we're going to undo this wire nut here, and we're going to undo this wire nut here. And this is low voltage. This won't hurt you unless you're wet or something like that. You don't really want to touch it, but you most of the time won't feel a 24-volt shock unless it's got a pretty significant load on it. So we're just going to touch these two together, and that will engage the fan relay and make sure our motor starts. There it goes. And after a short delay, the motor will stop. All right, we got a pretty degraded 3/8 vinyl hose here. It's kind of just dumping right here, so we're gonna fix that up too. We're gonna cut off the bad piece, put a piece of 3/8 copper in here, and extend it out a little bit to get it away from the house and away from the unit a little bit better. All right, you see here we got our piece of 3/8 in there, and we've snuck it underneath the unit here, and then out into the yard there. So this is actually per the customer request. He didn't like where it was at, so he wanted to get it out here, so he is aware of it being here. So hopefully he doesn't hit it with the grass cutter. But there it is. It's starting to rain on me a little bit. Yep, every day I usually start in my blue uniform button up, and I always end up taking it off and ended up in the t-shirt. It's just too hot, man. They're hot wearing those thick uniform shirts. That was a little quick hitter right there. That unit was actually PM'd not long ago, and the PM guy wrote up the bad capacitor, and he also thought he had a charge issue. Now, I didn't show any of that, but it didn't have a charge issue, so I didn't have to add any charge to that one. But we're about to go right now and look at a ductless unit. It's a Fujitsu unit that's leaking, so let's take a look. All right, this one here, customer says this Fujitsu mini split head is leaking, and he said it was coming out right here. So let's open this thing up and see why it's leaking. I'm not sure why this is like this. This plastic's supposed to go below this. I'm not sure why it was put on like that. Take a look in here. Some rusting. It's definitely not a new unit. I'm gonna have to pour some water in there and see if it gets rid of it. I poured some water in there. For the most part, it took it all away. There is still some in here. All right, if you look here, you see that drain does run slightly uphill here. You can pull it down some, but it does go slightly uphill before it turns back down. Huh. Yeah, we do got some caulk built up in there. Yeah, you see it? Mm-hmm. This thing got making some serious water. That would definitely stop it up. Let's try to clear that out of there. You see it? Not just what's in the front there, what's in the back also. Alright, I cleared the caulk off and then hooked it back up. So let's pour some down there. All right, I think we got her draining pretty good now. I've dumped 2 bottles of water down there and it took it all away. You can definitely stand a cleaning too. Yeah, I got that condensate cleared out, and I actually cleaned it up a little bit. I cleaned the panels and the filters and stuff. I didn't pull the wheel. Those Fujitsus, you got to take a lot apart to pull the wheel on those, but I got his immediate issue taken care of. So, all right, let's go take a look at this York package unit. It's an older package unit that is not working at all. So let's go take a look. All right, guys, I did do a monologue on this one, but the wind noise was so bad, I decided just to do a voiceover on this one. So we got this York package unit here. It's not really doing anything. I'm kind of trying to figure out right now which unit it is because the restaurant owner is not on site right now. So I went up on the roof and I tried to get my bearings which unit I was working on because I was sort of familiar with this roof. The unit right next door to this one we just replaced, so I knew the very next unit over was this restaurant. And they've got this weird note on here about they didn't have compressor coil voltage, and they thought the condenser fan motor is going bad. They had to push to start it, and then they had some indoor blower motor readings on there, but the bearings were bad. Most of that wasn't true, actually. The bearings were bad, but as this service call unfolds, I do find a couple issues with this unit. So once I start digging into it, you'll see. And something I noticed here, this unit must have been worked on over the past couple weeks, because anybody knows you put Sharpie on the top of a unit, that's going to be gone within a few weeks. If it rains, you know, that'll be like most of that will be gone. Anybody that's actually taken a Sharpie and tried to write a unit number on something doesn't last very long. So I had reason to believe this unit was worked on by somebody else within the past couple weeks, and nobody at the company I work for writes notes like that on a unit. So we're just opening up the unit right now. We're going to test to make sure, for one, we have high voltage, and then for two, to see if we have low voltage. I don't believe the thermostat is calling right now. They have it off completely. So yeah, I'm just going to test for that right now. Make sure we have R, make sure we have high voltage, and then we'll move on. So right here I have G and Y jumped out, and the fan started, but the compressor did not. So something's holding up our compressor call. At this point, I don't know if it's a pressure switch or if it's something else. I'm not sure. Digging into it a little bit further, I will find out the problem. And the unit's in rough shape. I mean, it's in pretty rough shape. So this unit should definitely probably be replaced, but I still want to go into it deeper and see if I can actually fix the unit. So I'm back. I went back to read this note now that I looked a little bit further at the unit. Now the note's making a little more sense to me. But yeah. So I got the compressor compartment opened up, and I see at some point somebody has tried to jump out these pressure switches because there's tape all over them. What they did was they actually just stripped back the insulation, and then I guess at some point twisted them together. Now they're not twisted together now, and you see that wire that just fell out of that wire nut? That was the reason why my compressor wasn't coming on. That wire that was bypassed right there was actually the hot gas thermostat. So what that wire does, or what that thermostat does, is it clips on to the hot gas line, and in an event where the hot gas gets too high, that little thermostat will open and it will shut the system down. It's wired in series with the pressure switches. So yeah, I'm looking here, I'm looking at that tape on there. So somebody at some point, I guess, was bypassing pressure switches trying to figure out what was going on with this system. And instead of properly splicing them back, they just taped them. So I'm not too impressed by that. But I am going to fix that one wire that fell out, which ended up being the reason why my compressor contactor wasn't pulling in. And when I got it started up, the condenser motor did not start. I gave it a spin with a screwdriver and it took off running. So at this point I'm thinking, well, let me check the capacitor. So I had to clean off some of the rust, and I'm going to test it. And this capacitor is bad. It's not reading any microfarads at all. So we're going to go down to the truck and we're going to get us a new capacitor and see if we can breathe new life into that condenser fan motor. And on the way down and back up, I noticed this piece of conduit. Look at this. The wire is actually holding up the conduit. I'll tell you, man, this is not a very nice building here. Look at that conduit. Look at the way they ran that. Look, it's all laying down. They didn't put enough clamps on it to start with. That's why it fell down. All right, we got a new capacitor installed now, new 10 microfarad capacitor. We're going to throw power and see what happens. And I'll let you know what happened. It started right away. It wasn't labored or anything. That condenser motor took right off after I threw power to it. Can't really remember what I'm looking at or I'm discussing at this point, but either way, when I start the thing back up, that condenser motor takes right off. But yeah, I mean, the more I look at this unit, the more I see somebody has cut and spliced just about every low voltage wiring on this thing. And usually that's what somebody does when they don't know what the hell they're doing. They know they've lost the voltage to the compressor contactor, but they don't know where they've lost it at. So they just start cutting things and testing things and seeing what's going on. Now, I am guilty of that in the past, but the more I've got more experience, the less I do that. So we're just going to take a supply and return reading here now that we have the system going. And we end up with like a 20-degree split. We got like a 62-degree supply and like I think an 82-degree return. So the unit is running not bad. Now it is wobbling its ass off because that bearing is bad. He was right about that. The bearings, the upper bearings are bad. The upper bearings are the bearings where the belt is and where the pulleys are. Yeah, I don't know if you go back and look at that trap. Somebody installed that trap upside down. So I guess it works like that, but that's kind of just par for the course with this unit. And also, it doesn't have any filters in it. The filters were pulled God knows how long ago, and the coil is filthy now. The filter rack was even taken apart. I got a piece of it right here. I try to slide back in. So I do end up getting this unit working, but I am going to have to either quote major repairs for this thing, which the restaurant owner will be on the hook for, or quote a replacement unit, which the landlord would be on the hook for. And, you know, something happens later in this video with this business owner, which I'm not too happy about, but I would like to see this unit get replaced because it is in pretty rough shape. So that unit is in pretty rough shape, so I'm going to recommend a unit replacement there. And because I'm not gonna put a bunch of money into that thing. It needs bearings. It needs a complete cleaning. I would want to fix all that wiring, and not to mention, I mean, the unit's at least 20 years old, so pretty old unit. But the funny thing is, the tenant finally shows up. I talked to him for a few minutes. I go to give him the bill. He says, "I'll be right back." He just leaves. Never comes back. So, and the property management company that called us is a good management company. We do a lot of work for them, and typically we bill them directly, and then they pay us. But according to the lease that this tenant has, he is on the hook for any repairs. So I told him the bill. He said, okay, yeah, I'll be right back. He hops in his car, never comes the frick back. These people, man. Got half of mine to go up there and take the good capacitor back off and then unwire nut what I fixed. So, but I'm not going to do that. You know, it's only you know, it's not even a very big bill, but you know, some people, man, I guess if you can't afford the service, don't call. But all right, guys, let's get on to the next one. Hey guys, I wanted to go through a quick video on this Aurora Aid tool. It's for a water furnace. Well, it's any water furnace, really, newer water furnace. So they made me buy this tool if I wanted to do anything with this unit. This communicating thermostat was bad, and you needed the Aid tool to go in there and make it forget the communicating thermostat so we can install a traditional 24-volt thermostat. And you need this Aid tool to do that. So I just wanted to go, right now I'm in the T-stat options. You can override the thermostat. But what I had to do here was, this is our main menu here. I had to go down to configure Aurora system, and then here's our 3 options. Honestly, I haven't really read into the directions because I don't want to get into anything I don't need to get into. But we had a 3rd option here. It was called TST, and that is the thermostat, the communicating thermostat. So I actually had to go in there and remove that. Now with that removed, I hooked up, right now I just have it jumped out with a short piece of wire, but I'm going to take my existing thermostat wire, which is right here, that went to my communicating stat, and I'm going to wire in a Honeywell T6. The unit is running right now. I have it jumped out in stage 1 cooling, and it's working. So we're going to go down and we're going to put a Honeywell T6 on it, and as far as I'm concerned, it can stay like that. I'll make sure I do have a 2-stage thermostat, because I believe this unit is 2-stage. I'll have to check into that. If it is 2-stage, I'll make sure I put a 2-stage on. If it's single stage, just a regular Honeywell T6 will do the job. So I don't believe it's 2-stage, but we'll find out. Yeah, guys, sometimes in this industry, you're the hero, and I was the hero today. So the air conditioning there had been down for 3 months. I didn't leave it down for 3 months. I did leave it down for a couple weeks, though, having to order this Aid tool and go back with it. If I can find the video, I'll link it. But it was water furnace you can't make any adjustments or anything to this piece of equipment without this Aid tool. And I needed to take off the communicating thermostat and put on a traditional 24-volt thermostat. And you can't do that without the Aid tool. So I got that in today and just wired in that Honeywell T6. It's already 6 o'clock, so I was trying to get the heck up out of there. I didn't really film much of that, but yeah, they were ecstatic in there. They were real happy about it. It's a physical therapy place, so you know, people are in there sweating. People are in there sweating, and they were really happy to get the air conditioning back on. They had the had window units in there, which were doing okay, but you know, we're definitely happy to have the air conditioning back on. So, all right, guys, but that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't done so already, please like the video and please consider subscribing to the channel. And I have channel memberships now, like I said in the beginning of the video. They're $4.99. I'm not doing any tiered memberships right now. Maybe that'll come later, but it's just one membership for $4.99, and you'll get exclusive perks to the channel. When I get stickers, anybody that's a member will get the stickers first, and I'll start making exclusive videos, or that only the members will get, or you guys will see my videos first. So consider becoming a member of the channel. That'll really help me out too. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll catch you on the next one.